Rick Barnes is very unfairly characterized, and the nickname Second Round Rick is just not appropriate. Here we go.
What the H?
Wow, I've never worked hard on anything. What a cool life.
For real? The Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Represented by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com, Tennessee's trial attorney. From the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studio, East Tennessee's #1 volume and customer service dealer, Ted Russell Ford and TedRussellLincoln.net. Now to the Dave Hooker Show on Off the Hook Sports.
All right. Second round Rick. That's what they call him. That's incredibly unfair. And I'm going to tell you why. And I want our poll question just to be this. And I'm not comparing Rick Barnes to Bruce Pearl just because Bruce Pearl used to be Tennessee's head basketball coach, but I kind of am. I just think there's still this infatuation with Bruce where I think more than 50% of the fan base would immediately trade Rick Barnes for Bruce Pearl. Maybe that's the question, Caleb. Would you trade Rick Barnes for Bruce Pearl right now? Do you think more than 50% of the fan base would?
Not anymore. Maybe 5 years ago, but not anymore. Only because Bruce Pearl has somewhat even the competition with Rick Barnes. And as we're going to get to, I think people are catching on to Bruce in a way that you just have, interestingly.
Okay. Well, I think still close to 50% would, perhaps more. I think a significant amount, 30. Can we agree on 30% still would? You're not even that high?
Yes. Maybe 30%, but I don't know. Again, you got to remember this. Barnes is in his 70s, but ain't like Bruce Pearl ain't in his 60s.
Well, see, that's what kind of keyed me off on this. So I was doing the show with Will West, Tyler and Will. Tyler's been out with they say butt implants. Kardashian is what they call it. I don't know if that's true or not. But the fact is, both guys have made how many Final Fours, Caleb? Well, say it for our audience. One. Both made one. And I don't remember Rick Barnes' run to the Final Four at Texas. I'm not going to claim to. But I will tell you that Auburn's run to the Final Four was all about getting hot at the right time. And that could happen for this year. That could happen for Florida, Auburn, Wofford, Tennessee. I mean, sometimes you just get red hot and you're running through the tournament. Are you telling me that Georgia State was better than any of the teams they beat back, 7-8 years ago? Absolutely not.
No, not at all.
Okay, so this, according to Dylan, people miss Pearl like they miss Kiffin. Great stuff in the message board. Rick has surpassed Bruce at this point. Barnes has 2 SEC regular season championships. Okay, so this number, though, is more important than that one, which is 1 Final Four apiece. This number is, I think, incredibly significant. So I did the math, and I'm not great at math, but I'm pretty good. I'm good enough to do percentages. Barnes has advanced to the Sweet 16 or beyond 33% of the time. So if you break it down, that is 27 times in the NCAA tournament, and he's made the Sweet 16 or beyond on 9 occasions. Pearl, who coached in Division II until 2001, does not have as many appearances in the SEC tournament. So he's advanced to the Sweet 16 or beyond 38% of the time. Pearl's record is better, but not by much. He has advanced to the Sweet 16 on 5 occasions in 14 attempts. So my question is this for you. Is it second round Rick or is it bounced out Bruce?
Ooh.
Or is it both?
Well,
or is it neither? You have 4 choices.
Second round Rick or bounced out Bruce? Both or neither? Well, is recency bias allowed, Dave?
Certainly. I mean, you can. This is very subjective. You can go in any direction you want to.
Well, if you factor in recency, and let's just go post-COVID, I mean, the way I used to separate errors, pre and post integration, I'm now doing COVID, pre and post COVID. But
I'm too, actually.
Post COVID, Bruce Pearl has not made it past the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. Rick Barnes has made it to the second weekend each of the last 2 years.
Okay. So are we having a debate who is the better coach?
I wonder if we're having a debate on who struggles more in the big one, because I think it's marginal at best. And I mean, let's not point this. I mean, let's not forget this, Dave. I just want to add this. Auburn's Final Four that they made in 2019 was that they were compiling a team that was at the centerpiece of an FBI investigation that got Will Wade fired and resulted in them under Pearl getting a postseason ban in 2021.
Well, that, and I don't want to question Pearl's moral compass, but I will certainly not question Rick Barnes's moral compass, who I think is all about helping young men and doing it the right way. And again, maybe we're average dudes, maybe Pearl's an average dude, and Barnes puts the standard pretty high up there as just a man, and I think he does. But I'm not knocking Pearl. I'm not trying to knock his character at all. But Rick Barnes is elite, right?
Very elite. Very elite. And I mean, he's one of the highest character people to ever coach. I mean, this is a guy, I just want to tell a story, Rick Barnes, real quick, Dave. After he got fired by Texas, you remember TJ Ford, who was the National Player of the Year, who helped him get to his one Final Four. TJ Ford was going back to Texas to graduate, to finish up his school. Rick Barnes, literally the summer after he was fired by Texas, went back to Texas to witness his graduation. Honestly. I mean, that
nobody does that. Nobody does that.
Nobody does that. He's one of the best people to ever be a head coach. And if you watch him, there's a great interview of TJ Ford just crying on Rick Barnes' shoulder. Like, basically, you could tell sees Rick Barnes as honestly another father figure for him. And I mean, it's actually one of the most emotional moments you'll watch if you go to YouTube. Just write Rick Barnes, TJ Ford graduation. And Barnes made sure to go to it. So the highest character guy. And also, I'm going to say this. There's no question that his Final Four team, even if it was a long time ago, was 100% above board, right?
Yes.
Are we we can safely say Bruce Pearl's was literally not above board. They have a postseason ban from it.
Yeah. So I'm not sharing off the record stuff, but I mean, everybody knows he got a divorce. Getting a divorce does not mean you have a poor moral compass. Somebody can go crazy in a marriage, but it does. You have legitimate proof of cheating within his program. We're not drawing conclusions based off like, oh, I heard Lane Kiffin was in a Mercedes with 2 chicks and wrecked. We're not doing all the rumors and innuendo. That's no fact. What you're reporting is fact.
Exactly. What I'm reporting is fact. And 2 things here. Bruce Pearl has been caught cheating twice. At least his program has. And unlike Rick Barnes, Bruce Pearl's also, this is the lowest maybe, he snitched on another program for cheating.
Well, he snitched on another program, but I will argue the worst thing that he did was lying to his superiors at UT and then lying to the NCAA. I've used this analogy before. I was on radio at the time. We don't have FCC violations, so we can say all kinds of stuff if we want to. I just bleep myself out. But with Bruce, he lied to the NCAA. That to me is the equivalent of, we're doing a radio show that's monitored by the FCC, and you curse on there, Caleb, not you, but rhetorically. Somebody curses and then lies about it to their bosses. Now, everything's recorded now, but used to be it went out into space and it was gone. You didn't record every second of the radio station. So you lie about it to them and you lie about it to the FCC, and the FCC happens to be sitting in the parking lot with a recorder and they've got it on tape. Then you look like a real jackass. And then your athletic director looks like a real jackass. So they had no choice but to fire him. And that's stuff that's on the record too. Again, not rumor and innuendo, but if you want to point to one guy of having higher character, it's obviously Rick Barnes, right?
Obviously Rick Barnes. Yes. Yes, 100%. And by the way, for those who don't know the story, Deion Thomas was the player that Bruce Pearl ratted out years ago. Okay, this happened way back. Deion Thomas had taken some money to go to Illinois, and Bruce Pearl was an assistant coach at Iowa, and he secretly recorded a conversation with Deion Thomas that showed that Thomas was being paid a little bit of money under the table to go to Illinois. Pearl turned that money over to Pearl turned that tape over to the NCAA, got Illinois put on probation. Deion Thomas still ended up going to Illinois, but obviously this is the 1980s. He had a major black mark over his head that hurt him in a lot of ways. And
I'm going to defend him on that. He was trying to get proof of cheating. I never had a problem with that.
I do, because of what he did 20 years later. He's been caught cheating twice since then. And by the way, I don't know if you know this story, Dave. In 2013, when Bruce Pearl had a show cause from the NCAA and was trying to get a job back, he publicly apologized to Deion Thomas. Now, why did he wait till then to apologize to Deion Thomas? Because he wanted another job, right?
Right. No question about it. He felt like he got put in coaching purgatory, which he did. And I'll defend him on that. Now, in retrospect, there's been cheating issues since, and he certainly comes across as a hypocrite. But in that one instance, if you're trying to prove that your competitor's cheating, it's not something I would do. I'm not one to gripe to the officials and the refs, but if the other guy is indeed cheating, I don't have a problem.
This is the equivalent of, I'm sorry, it's the same thing. Jose Canseco did steroids. He's mad he got caught, so he's going to rat out everybody else for doing steroids. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm sorry. And then a great example. Remember when Pete Rose wanted to sell a book? And so to sell a book, he decided to finally admit that he was betting on baseball after 15 years of denying it?
Yes.
That's what Bruce Pearl did. He felt he was blackballed by the NCAA, and he wanted a new job, so he publicly apologized to Deion Thomas. It was embarrassing. So it was like, I'm sorry. Rick Barnes, not only has he never been caught or implicated in a cheating scandal, he's never ratted anybody out for doing it either. Okay, Rick Barnes.
Again, though, in a vacuum, that incident, I don't hold against Bruce Pearl. In a vacuum, when it happened, he's trying to turn his competitors in. I get that, but that also could potentially clean up the sport. So I don't have a problem with that in a vacuum.
I don't know. It comes across as a little like this is where the whole Fulmer thing, we get back to Fulmer in Alabama and back in those days, 99 and 2000. Dave, let's be honest. Alabama fans aren't completely without merit when they feel like Fulmer got involved in helping to turn them in. Now, a lot of other coaches complained about Logan Young. Fulmer's not the only one. Steve Spurrier, look it up. A bunch of them did.
Oh, no. Listen, I've read the affidavit from the letter that he's handwritten sent to Roy Kramer. And was it Roy Adams in Memphis?
Yeah. Yeah, Roy Adams.
He calls him everything under the book. And, in print. And I don't know. I was going back in the News Sentinel archives and reading this stuff they had collected. And I guess it was reported when I was younger. It was a little bit before my time. But yeah, he was not only looking to get Roy Adams in trouble, he was looking to burn him to the ground.
Right. Well, Roy Adams, I didn't mind him wanting to get him in trouble because he was mad that Roy Adams was way too much around his program and messing things up. But the wanting to turn in Alabama was to get people off his back with the academic fraud investigation.
Right.
That was now
the thing with Roy Adams is he liked football players a little too much.
Let's also I know what you're going at. I know the story, but
it's not going at, it's fact.
No, I know.
You can have a car and a scholarship if you do this to me.
Yes. Now, actually, bringing up Fulmer is very relative because Fulmer and Barnes, Fulmer and Barnes, similar in this way. Dave, think about this. The Pearl Barnes comparison is very much like the Spurrier Fulmer comparison, if you think about it. Like Spurrier is the offensive genius who like is just like a coaching savant, I guess if you say, but actual national championships, he and Fulmer have the same number, don't they?
Yep.
The exact same number of national titles. And by the way, Spurrier doesn't even have an undefeated season. Philip Fulmer does.
Yeah.
So
Steve got it.
Oh, I know.
I know you got it, and I don't really want to go down this road, but I know it's a fact from former players that would essentially ostracize the players that agreed to that arrangement.
Also, there's it
wasn't widespread. It wasn't like a bunch of players are doing this,
right? And it wasn't like full. Yeah, it
was like two guys, and I could tell you it was, but I'm not going to go there.
But wow, we've gone off the rails. I'm trying to clean this up, Dave.
All right.
No, honestly, is that a fair comparison? Is Barnes like Fulmer, where Pearl's like Spurrier, where everybody looks at Pearl and Spurrier as the savants, but then we're like, but they didn't have that much more success than Fulmer and Barnes.
Right. I'll go there, but the difference is when they matched up more times than not, Spurrier beat the dog stuffing out of Fulmer, right?
Yes, and also that is true. And also, I will say this: we call Pearl a liar. If there's Spurrier has probably never told a lie in his life. Honestly,
I think he's too cocky to want to lie. I don't think it's a moral thing.
He has never lied in his life.
I don't care if you like the truth or not. There's some people that say that, and there's some people that actually live that, and I think he lived that.